Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering the Apocalypse of Abraham, chapters 1 through 8.
8?
Yes.
Oh, I can't see it.
I know you can't see it. I know.
It's off screen.
It is. But it is 1 through 8.
Wow.
Because they're not like super long chapters or anything. And that is a little helpful because that is the first division that makes sense, I guess.
I guess today we're going to be talking about Honest Abe.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about his hat and his beard.
I mean, you're not wrong, right?
Yeah, and then the time he died.
Wow, that's just like that other guy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of characters in the Bible.
There are.
But none of them are Abe.
That is described almost very, very similarly to that. But
Yes.
So yeah, the Apocalypse of Abraham.
I don't have a translation.
You don't, but I have a translation. Well, we're going to be using this one. This is, of course, from the Old Testament Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1, from James H. Charlesworth. And this translation of, and the introduction is from R. Rubinkowitz.
That's a name.
Oh.
Yes, I don't know what his first name is, but it's R. It starts with an R, but Rubinkowitz. So the theme of the Apocalypse of Abraham seems to be Israel's election and its covenant with God. The document can be divided into two parts, chapters 1 through 8 and chapters 9 through 32. Don't worry, we won't be doing chapters 9 through 32 all in one episode. But chapters 1 through 8 conveniently work out for us right now. So chapters 1 through 8 constitute a story of Abraham's youth and his perception of idolatry. Abraham concludes that his father's idols are not gods because some stone idols are crushed and a wooden idol is accidentally consumed by fire. Abraham consequently beseeches God to reveal himself, whereupon he hears God's voice, which instructs Abraham to leave his father's house. And then he goes over kind of how the story goes itself. He breaks it down into different sections. So this book has been influential towards angelology and demonology. So we're going to be seeing some angels and some demons in here.
Great.
Yeah. So it's
I have the Apocalypse of Abraham Wikipedia page.
Why?
Because I don't have any other book.
I'm going to give this to you to read.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
What?
It was probably composed between 70 and 150 AD from earlier writings, and tradition possibly kept from earlier times.
Yeah, so I am going to talk about that. Don't worry. I got you.
It's only survived in old Slavonic recensions.
Yes, I that's the next thing I was going to say. But thank you for grabbing that.
Yeah.
So the original language, so while there hasn't been a huge study done on this from just one section, A. Rubenstein, not Rubinkowitz, but a different guy, studied only 10 passages from the Apocalypse and concluded that the document probably was written in Hebrew. The Slavonic text of the Apocalypse of Abraham contains several Hebrew names, words, and phrases. The most impressive examples are the following. Yovan is a Slavonic deformation of the Hebrew Yoan, and he references that as Greece. We've seen that in probably closer to Ionia. So, or at least, yeah, in English it would be Ionia. Suzuk is probably a transcription of the name Curius, Cyrus, and Marumat is an abbreviation of the Hebrew Marta Roma. The use of parts of the body instead of a simple pronoun is frequent. My heart was perplexed. Why now have you afflicted my heart? The parallelism of the verses reflects Semitic thought. So he goes over a couple other things. But, yeah, for the dating, pretty much our most conclusive references to something like this, at least early on, would be from the text of recognitions in the 2nd century, and also I think from the church father Origen as well, I believe. From Origen as well. So living, at the same time there. So I would say like early 2nd century around there is where it's is where it's placed, and it mentions the destruction of the temple, so it was composed after the destruction of the temple, so after 70, and because of external evidence, we can give it like an earliest possible date that way. So it's in between those. It is in between those. So
there's some details in here. It says speculations of the time this ancient work was written vary greatly. How far back the earlier Hebrew text went is only conjectured.
Yeah.
The relative age of these works can be determined by comparing the legend of Abraham as contained in the Apocalypse with those in the Talmud and in the Book of Jubilees. The legend of the raven in Jubilees and the account of the conversion of Abraham and his boyhood are still unknown to the Apocalypse, while the legend of the fire of the Chaldees is found there, still in its incipient stage. The mockery of the idol Barisat is more extended in the Midrash than in the Apocalypse. Also, the condemnation of Terah as an idolater, as related in the Apocalypse, discloses the older Agada, Genesis Rabbah 39:7, whereas the Book of Jubilees presents the later one, compare Genesis Rabbah 34 and 39:7, where Terah is treated quite mildly. The Book of Jubilees treats the temple as still existing and therefore can be dated prior to 70 AD when the temple was destroyed. It is most probably distinct from the Greek.
I don't even know where we're at, but I'm going to look for some Greek. Okay. It is most probably distinct from the Apocalypsus. The Apocalypsus Abram. So, yeah, that would be the Apocalypse of Abraham.
Right.
But it's a different book. Actually, they mentioned that in here too. How it was from the Sethites as well, but
Yes.
because of the things that we have remaining about that book, it seems to be a different book entirely.
Mm-hmm. The book was possibly known to the author of the Clementine Recognitions.
We just covered that.
And for this reason, in comparison with other apocalyptic texts, the text in its current form is usually considered to be written before the second half of the 2nd century, within the usually accepted range of 70 through 150 AD. The date of 79 through 81 AD has also been speculated.
Yeah, so while there are some more specific ideas about the date, the commentator here notes that it would be unwise to speculate further on it because there isn't really that much to go on. There is some, so we can place it in quite a range, but there's not really that much. And then it would be kind of tough to go from there. So
it also states, like all the apocalyptic literature preserved only in Slavonic, there is the problem of possible textual alterations made by the Bogomils.
Yeah.
Who were?
Did you want me to talk about that?
Yeah,
I got some stuff on that.
Talk about that.
So chapter 7 appears to be inserted from the legend of Abraham found in the Palaya. The interpolator of 29:3 through 13 was probably a Christian editor who had nothing to do with Gnostic circles. However, the gloss in 22:5, the censure in 25, and the gloss in 27 reveal that their author wanted to indicate that the God of Abraham is a God of evil. This point of view is usually associated with the Gnostics. And also to Marcion, although it would be hard to call Marcion a Gnostic necessarily. I have a video about it. Mm-hmm. The gloss in 22:5 and the censured text of 25, however, show that they could be made only in the Slavic world. The only Slavs who claimed that the God of the Old Testament was the God of evil were the Bogomils. Their founder was Pope Bogomil in the 10th century. According to the Bogomils, God had two sons, Satanael and Jesus. Satanael rebelled against God and created the visible world. Everything described in the book of Genesis is the work of the devil. If then this world is created by Satanael, or the God of the Old Testament, one has to abstain from every contact with the material world. The Bogomils therefore condemned marriage, abstained from meat and wine, and did not believe in the resurrection of the body.
So on that bit from 25, that is apparently disputed by Paolo Sacchi in Apocryphi del Antico Testamento, Volume 3, which is in Italian, and
Really?
we don't have it.
And we also don't know Italian.
Right.
Yeah,
I can
and
still guess what all that meant, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
They put O's at the end. That one was easy.
yeah, it's just Apocrypha from the Old Testament, Antico Testamento. Pretty straightforward.
Very.
yeah, and then there is a section here about the transmission of the book in general. It does talk about the different manuscripts, which there aren't that many. There aren't that many of them.
There's like 5 or 6.
Yeah, something like that.
From 2 major families of manuscripts.
That is what it looks like, yeah.
Oh.
So they do have kind of a little transmission history on here. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's like a little chart on there.
A family
How
tree.
is that?
That
Not very well.
Zoom
not
harder
very
on-
good.
Yeah, I gotta zoom in.
You zoom, yeah, there you go.
Okay, there we go. I zoomed in.
Slightly better.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's there. It's there. I'm sure you can see at least the chart outline, but it's there. So he goes on at length about it, and it references a lot of manuscripts, decent amount of Hebrew. But we did talk a little bit about the original language earlier, which I think is more critical. So there's really not much more to say about the Apocalypse of Abraham. So we can probably hop into it there.
All right.
Yeah.
Translated by R. Rubinkowitz. Revised and notes added by H.G. Lunt. Yes. The book of the Apocalypse of Abraham, son of Terah, son of Nahor, son of Serug, son of Arphaxad, son of Shem, son of Noah, son of Lamech, son of Methuselah,
Starts
son
like
of
this.
Enoch, son of Jared. The heading is only in S. That's one of the main manuscripts.
Yeah.
The badly garbled names are normalized here.
Oh, so they fixed them from the yeah.
D contains instead a few introductory lines, followed by a completely different text from the Chronicle of John Malalas, which may be rendered as follows. Moses put together the following, which he wrote in the book of the small Genesis, which is Jubilees, how Abraham came to know God. For previously he obeyed the gods of his father Terah, the astrologist, and while I was guarding his gods and the gods of my brother Nahor, my father complained about me, and it came to pass on one of the days, ...
Yeah. So listing him as an astrologer, that is one of the traditions that was preserved in the text of recognition that we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm. It's possible that the original beginning of the story has been lost in view of the abrupt opening in 3 different variants. Okay, so chapter 1. That was prior to chapter 1, by the way. Chapter 1. Abraham's rejection of idolatry. On the day I was guarding the gods of my father Terah and the gods of my brother Nahor, while I was testing to find out which god is in truth the strongest. I then, Abraham, at the time when my lot came, when I was completing the services of my father Terah's sacrifice to his gods of wood, of stone, of gold, of silver, of copper, and of iron, having entered their temple for the service, I found a god named Maramath, carved from stone, fallen at the feet of the iron god Nakin.
So is this how he's so he's going to be testing these gods? This is
Mhm.
what it sounds like. And he's already found one that has fallen.
Yeah, what do you know about these god names?
Nothing.
Oh, well, maybe you can look it up.
Yeah, I suppose I could.
It seems relevant.
Okay.
I mean, at least we know that Marumath, Marumath, was carved from stone, and Nakin, Nakhin, was an iron god, maybe made of iron.
You said Nakin?
Yeah, Nakhin.
Yeah. I'll find something on it.
All right. And it came to pass that when I saw it, my heart was perplexed, and I thought in my mind that I, Abraham, could not put it back in its place alone, because it was heavy, being made of big stone. But I went and told my father, and he came in with me, and when we both lifted it to put it in its place, its head fell off.
Oh, no. Well, that one can't be strong.
No way. Even while I was holding it by the head.
So apparently there are some different there are different translations of these, but one commentary states that so one commentary translates it as Nahon, and that would mean the iron god, but I'm not sure what the I'm not sure what how much it would change based. I don't know if it's transliteration thing or why we have Nakin instead.
I don't know. But yeah, this thing's head falls off when he was holding it by the head.
Yeah.
Probably you shouldn't have put so much stress on that joint in the neck.
Yeah, right?
Nah, it's just old.
How does
It's falling apart.
How
That's
does
the
he
point.
expect that God to be okay with a neck injury?
I don't think he does.
Yeah.
And it came to pass when my father saw the head of his god Marumath had fallen, he said to me, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said to me, Bring me the axes and chisels from the house. And I brought them to him from the house. And he cut another Marumath from another stone without a head, and he smashed the head that had fallen off Marumath and the rest of Marumath.
All right. So he's making a new one, I guess?
Yeah, but this one doesn't have a head.
Yeah, and then he destroyed the old one.
So he made
Yeah,
a
I
new
guess, yeah.
headless one.
He made a new headless one. I guess maybe it was Marumath's will to lose.
I don't know.
head.
That's really weird. Wait, read that verse again, because that was strange.
That's what it was.
And
so
he
far.
cut another Marumath from another stone
Yeah.
without a head.
Huh.
And he smashed the head that had fallen off Marumath and the rest of Marumath.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really weird.
Now we are in chapter 2. And it is noted that there's a place here that is probably Padanaram, which we'll get to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's called Fandana here, but it's probably Padanaram. Chapter 2. He made 5 other gods and gave them to me and ordered me to sell them outside on the town road. I saddled my father's ass and loaded them on it and went out on the highway to sell them. And behold,
Behold!
Behold.
What's that? I think it's like some kids song, like something candlestick maker. What's that? What am I thinking of?
Matchmaker.
No. Something about a candlestick maker. It's in a song.
Jack jumped over the candlestick.
I don't know.
Yeah, that one does have that.
Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to look that one up too. But it kind of reminds me of that because I don't know, for some reason, Idol Maker popped into my head and I wanted to parody that song.
Wow. Well, good luck.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, if you don't know the song, you can't parody it.
Or is it a poem or something?
Might be.
Okay.
You can look it
I am
up.
going to look it up.
Time.
You have your phone.
I know.
Yeah. Anyways, and merchants from Fandana, probably Padanaram, of Syria were coming with camels on their way to Egypt to buy coconil from the Nile. And coconil is an unknown word, perhaps reflecting Greek kokina, or scarlet clothing, or koukinos, which is down palm or fiber of palm.
Just not going to admit to being cocaine. It's just cocaine, guys.
It's not cocaine to anyone
Probably
that
not.
took that seriously.
We don't know what it is.
But yeah,
That's
the song I was thinking of, it was Rub-a-Dub-Dub.
What?
Yeah, Rub-a-Dub-Dub, 3 men in a tub. And who do you think they be? The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and all of them out to sea. So something about an idol maker in there.
No, when you said the title of that,
I
I thought of Splish Splash.
Yes.
Like Splish Splash, I was taking a bath.
Okay, now I don't know.
Oh, wow.
That one I don't know.
Isn't that like
Rub-a-dub, scrubbing in the tub, thinking everything was all right. Well, Splish
No.
Splash in the bath,
No.
Rub-a-dub in the
Who's the
tub.
artist who did that?
Never heard of this.
It's famous.
Splish Splash, I got out of the bath. How was
Why-
I to know there was a party going on?
Sorry, I don't know what you're referencing, actually.
Wow. It was used in a lot of
It's in
things.
Sesame Street.
It was used in a lot of things.
I don't know that one.
Wow. You should. You know,
Rub-a-dub-dub.
Rub-a-dub-dub.
Yeah.
3 men in a tub.
Yeah.
What a weird one. I hadn't even heard of that one.
Hey, so there's these merchants with these camels. I asked them a question and they answered me. And walking along, I conversed with them. You know, that's pretty vague.
Well, the thing is, he's trying to sell these, right? So he's being a good salesman. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, so he asks a question and doesn't say what the question is.
No.
You know, you could really set this scene by like showing off Abraham's sick bartering skills.
Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking. That would be good. That would be pretty good.
Yep. Anyways, one of their camels screamed. The ass took fright and ran away and threw off the gods. 3 of them were crushed, and 2 remained intact. And it came to pass that when the Syrians saw that I had gods, they said to me, "Why did you not tell us that you had gods? We would have bought them before the ass heard the camel's voice, and you would have had no loss. Give us at least the gods that remain, and we will give you a suitable price."
See, he was a great salesman.
Yeah, he didn't even have to sell. They were just like, "Oh, we feel bad for you."
See,
I guess
no. See, this is how you make a sale. You pretend that you're not trying to sell anything, and then people will buy it.
I guess. I considered it in my heart, and they paid both for the smashed gods and the gods which remained.
Oh, wow.
For I had been grieving in my heart how I would bring payment to my father. I threw the 3 broken gods into the water of the river Gur, which was in this place, and they sank into the depths of the river Gur and were no more.
So they're being broken and they are drowning. How could they possibly be gods?
Yeah. Now we're into chapter 3. Pretty quick chapters.
Fairly
huh?
short chapters here, yeah.
As I was still walking on the road, my heart was disturbed and my mind distracted. I said in my heart, "What is this inequality of activity which my father is doing?" Now, the term inequality can be translated as unevenness, but it can also be translated as excessiveness or superfluity.
Okay, so too much that isn't worth it.
Yeah. Is it not he rather who is God for his gods because they come into being from his sculpting, his planning, and his skill? They ought to honor my father because they are all his work. What is this food of my father in his works? This food is probably corrupt.
Oh no, someone corrupted the food.
It usually represents a Greek term meaning food for beasts.
So that wouldn't fit, I don't think. Unless
One manuscript changes it from this food to is the evil of deceit, though the pronoun used there doesn't fit.
Sweet.
Behold,
Behold.
Maramath fell and could not stand up in his sanctuary, nor could I myself lift him until my father came and we raised him up. And even so, we were not able to do it, and his head fell off of him. And he put it on another stone of another god, which he had made without a head. That is not what happened.
Why are there two stories contradicting immediately?
Well, no, this is happening. Isn't this like a different thing?
No, he's reflecting on.
Oh,
what
is he?
happened.
Okay.
Yeah. This is Abraham talking about what just happened.
Yeah, well then no, that is not what happened.
Abraham remembered it wrong.
Right. You know, if he was just going to put the head on another statue, why wouldn't he just keep the statue that was there and put the head back onto it?
Dude, I don't know. Why are you asking me these questions?
This is not smart.
Look it up.
This is a complete waste of resources.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
So profligate.
You know what he could do? He could, depending on what the material is, he could if it's a metal.
It's just stone.
Okay. So yeah, this one's stone. Yeah. You know what? He could take the idol that he has, right? And he could carve two new idols out of it.
He
It's
could.
just really small ones.
I mean,
That would
it'd probably be easier to sell to passers-by.
true. Yeah, because you don't have to carry a big one.
Yeah. And
Just grab rocks and have a stone machine turn it into gravelers.
It was also noted that there's a lot of that. I mean, throughout this book, not so much right now, but throughout this book, there's going to be a lot of anti-Jewish polemic too.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, this is the classic. Most of this is like classic polemics that we've seen. Like these, they get destroyed. They're the works of man's hands. They can't see, they can't hear, and then it goes on in this section. Even though I guess it is a contradictory story from the first one that we heard. It does seem like this one specifically is another way to mock those gods because it changes their heads out and stuff.
Yeah, I'm thinking that mechanically, what might have happened here is that it was broken at the neck, so Terah made an indentation in the neck of the head and then built a section that was more conical or something in the neck of the new statue so that it could fit on, maybe.
Yes, that makes
sense.
Like a
bobblehead.
But the first story doesn't make any sense where he smashed everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, next verse starts, and ... There's a footnote.
So there's a textual break or something.
Yes, corrupt, perhaps he made is omitted. So I'll read it like that. And he made the other 5 gods, which got smashed in falling from the ass. So who could not save themselves and injure the ass because it smashed them, nor did their shards come up out of the river. And I said to my heart, if it is so, how then can my father's god Marumath, which has the head of another stone, and which is made from another stone, save a man, or hear a man's prayer, or give him any gift?
That's a good question.
Anyways, now we're in chapter 4. And thinking thus, I came to my father's house. And I watered the ass and gave him hay. And I took out the silver and placed it in the hand of my father Terah. And when he saw it, he was glad. And he said, "You are blessed, Abraham, by the God of my gods, since you have brought me the price for the gods, so that my labor was not in vain." You know, it's really weird that Terah's calling Abraham, given that his name at this point would have been
Abram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is all off.
Yeah. Yep. But I guess Terah has a god of his gods.
Well, I think that would just be like his most important god. Like when,
like a household deity, or like a regional deity, or like a personal
god.
well, if it's more like a henotheistic kind of deal, then it's just like the chief god.
Mm. And answering, I said to him, "Listen, Father Terah, the gods are blessed in you, because you are a god for them, because you made them. For their blessing is their perdition, and their power is vain. They did not help themselves. How then can they help you or bless me? I was good for you in this transaction." The word transaction here is probably for Greek hurema, or which means what is found unexpectedly, a piece of good luck, some realized by a sale.
Okay.
For through my good sense, I brought you the silver for the smashed gods. And when he heard my speech, he became furiously angry with me, because I had spoken harsh words against his gods.
You know that. Yeah. You know he. Wouldn't you get mad too?
Yeah. How did your parents react the first time you spoke harshly about their god?
They didn't care. They were always fairly secular.
What about your grandparents?
Oh, they didn't like it. They were like, "You're wrong."
You're wrong.
That's how it went.
I bet.
My grandma liked it.
That is the end of chapter 4.
I can continue.
Hey,
I can
if you're
finish it off.
enjoying the stream so far, give us a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, neighbors, etc. There's really not much commentary on a lot of this.
No, not much at all. And a good amount of it is textual as well. But, dropping a like really does help the channel and the show in general. Really more engagement helps with YouTube. So you should consider that.
So to summarize the first 4 chapters, Abraham, who's for some reason Abraham and not Abram at this point.
Yeah.
He breaks a statue. His dad makes a new statue. He goes to sell more statues that his dad made. Some of them drop. Others don't. He manages to sell all of them.
Yeah, even the broken ones.
Even the broken ones. And then he's like, these statues couldn't save themselves. This is bullshit.
This is a
and then he gets home and he tells his dad that, and his dad's really mad about it.
Yeah.
That's a good summary, I think.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Oh, will you? Okay.
I don't have anything to read from anyway.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess. So, chapter 5. But having pondered my father's anger, I went out. And afterward, when I had gone out, he called me, saying, "Abraham!" And I said, "Here I am." And he said, "Up, gather wood chips, for I was making gods from fear before you came." Sorry, from fir before you came, like the tree. Before you came. And prepare with them food for my midday meal. It is a little amusing to me that Abraham was just telling his dad, like, "Hey, you made these gods. They should worship you. And he's like, "Get out of here. And by the way, go get some stuff so I can make a god." That's how I'm seeing this. And of course, make some food as well. And it came to pass, when I was choosing the wooden chips, I found among them a small god, which was fit in my left hand. So there's a textual break here. So it says, let's see. and it was fit. Let's see, chapter 5. Yeah, in my left hand. Man, this is just so weird. Yeah, that's all.
He finds like a
that's all right,
small
chapter
idol
5.
that could fit in his hand.
Yeah, a really tiny one. So it looks like the Slavic here is unknown. Bontwenches in Distreu, and Bach's Landman's among the brushwood are both thoroughly implausible. So it seems like that has been translated a couple different ways, because we just don't know what the original means. So they translate it that way. And then, yeah, in my left hand, so the Slavic, Suchimi, I guess. I don't know. This would be a lot easier for me if it was in Cyrillic. Cannot mean on my left hand, as Bonwetch and Box and Landsman render it. So, yeah. So instead of on my left, he translates it as in my left hand. And continuing on here, and on its forehead was written God Barisat. And it came to pass, when I put the chips on the fire in order to prepare the food for my father, and going out to inquire about the food, I put Barisat near the enkindling fire, saying to him threateningly, Barisat, watch that the fire does not go out before I come back. That's hilarious. He put a tiny idol next to a fire. He's like, hey, make sure this doesn't go out. You're in charge.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. If the fire goes out, blow on it so it flares up. So yeah, this is probably just going to be another way for him to be like, wow, these gods can't do anything right. Or it's going to burn. I'm guessing it's probably going to burn. Because it's made of wood. Because it's made of wood.
It's pretty dumb to put a wooden idol right by the fire.
Yeah. I went out and I made my counsel. And it looks like the old Suvetu yeah, okay. So Suvetu counsel or advice is hopelessly confused orthographically with Svetu. Well,
So,
that's
according
hold
to
on, just a second. So it says it's confused with Svetu light. Svetu is like to light, like as in towards light.
Mhm.
If you just want to say light, I mean maybe it's different in like old Slavonic, right? But at least in modern day Russian, light is just sviet.
Yeah. So according to the Apocalypse of Abraham, which is the notes here by G.H. Box with the assistance of J.I. Landsman.
Yeah,
that's
the one that was just that I mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, this version is actually put out for free as a PDF by Marquette University.
Oh, interesting. You know, when I was looking up some of this stuff, you know who wrote some papers on the Apocalypse of Abraham?
The second Enoch guy?
Yeah.
Wow. So the name Barisat is probably Bar Ishta, son of fire.
Oh, neat. Well, that would make sense with probably what's going to happen soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I made my counsel. When I returned, I found Barisat fallen on his back, his feet enveloped by fire and burning fiercely. And it came to pass when I saw it, I laughed and said to myself, ha ha ha, Barisat, truly you know how to light a fire and cook food.
Just imagine.
Look at that, making
like,
jokes.
You
himself.
find something, you like, let's say that you had a little statue of Satan, right?
Yeah.
And it fell down and it caught fire and you started laughing and were like, "Ha ha, Satan! Truly, you know how to start a fire and cook food."
Yeah, or
Terrible joke.
or if you have a statue of Satan that falls down.
Guys, it's ancient. This is a primitive joke.
Like I get it. Like I get it.
Yeah.
You have a statue of Satan and it falls down. And you're like, "Oh, Satan! It seems you've fallen." Ha ha! Like that's the kind of joke there.
Yeah,
Worst
but
laughter level bad.
that's pretty bad. Yeah.
And it came to pass, while saying this in my laughter, I saw that he burned up slowly from the fire and became ashes. I carried the food to my father to eat. I gave him wine and milk, and he drank, and he enjoyed himself, and he blessed Marumath, his god.
So it's noted here that wine was sometimes mixed not only with water, but with milk in Palestine.
That sounds so unpleasant.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Imagine
Have
putting
you seen,
wine and milk together.
Have you seen the pictures of Pilk?
What?
Half milk, half Pepsi.
That sounds so bad.
Yeah, it
It's not
does,
a
doesn't
good
it?
idea. These are bad ideas.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't
Okay.
know, maybe you should drink a glass of Pilk.
I don't want to do that. What about? Okay, no, I don't know.
Remember, this is like pre-pasteurization too. So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is like probably goat milk,
Oh.
like unpasteurized goat milk mixed with wine. That sounds horrible.
It does sound horrible, yeah. And I said to him, I gave him his wine, and he drank, and he enjoyed himself, and he blessed Meremoth, his god. And I said to him, "Father Terah, do not bless Marumath, your god. Do not praise him. Praise, rather, Barisat, your god, because as though loving you, he threw himself into the fire in order to cook your food." Oh, that's good. That's good. That's very clever. You're very clever, Abraham. So yeah, he cooked your food. You should worship him. And he said to me, "Then where is he now?" And I said, "He has burned in the fierceness of the fire and become dust." And he said, "Great is the power of Barisat. I will make another today, and tomorrow he will prepare my food."
Brilliant.
Dude. Tara is being portrayed like such an idiot. I love it.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, and this is like, never mind. This is exactly what we think about, like, other stuff.
This
You gotta
pretty
think
good.
of it like a sitcom, right? Where there's like a really stupid dad, like The Simpsons or
Yeah,
Family
yeah.
Guy.
Yeah.
So he cooked your food. He burned up in the fire for you. It's like, great, I'll make more.
This food's great. I should burn idols of this god more often.
See, yeah, you can tell when you cook food whether or not you burned an idol to make it. It's in there. Taste is in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the end of the chapter there. So now on to chapter 6, I suppose. I want to see how this ends. When I, Abraham, heard words like this from my father, I laughed in my mind, and I groaned in the bitterness and anger of my soul. I said, "How then is a figment of a body made by him, Terah, an aid for my father? Or can he have subordinated his body to his soul to a spirit, and the spirit to stupidity and ignorance?" He's like, okay, now he's going down this philosophical rabbit hole. It's like, how's that? What?
How dumb can this guy be? He's having like a panic attack and
No, yeah, this is
overwhelming
Abraham.
knowledge of ignorance.
Yeah, this is Abraham who's having so much trouble understanding all this. And I said, "It is only proper to endure evil, that I may throw my mind to purity, and I will expose my thoughts clearly to him."
So where it says it is fitting one to endure evil, only proper to endure evil.
Yeah.
It Can also mean it is well to suffer in this way for a good cause.
Yeah, and it seems so there's a section here about dualism, and it seems like there's like a hint of that there,
Mhm.
I would say. Because one of the themes that comes out is dualism. Talking about the evil in the world, but it isn't inevitable. So yeah, we'll get to more about the dualistic stuff.
Yeah.
So, he's all super confused, but he's like, I guess this is something I gotta go through.
Mhm.
Or I guess I should go through it. He's not bothered by it that much. It doesn't seem. I answered and said, "Wait, did he answer himself?"
Sure.
Yes.
This is all him saying this. Okay, so he's
All him,
answering
man.
himself. I answered and said, "Father Terra, whichever of these gods you extol, you err in your thought. Behold!
Behold.
Behold.
The gods of my brother Nahor standing in the holy sanctuary are more venerable than yours."
So this is interesting.
Probably because they haven't burnt up and cooked food, I'm guessing.
It says my brother Nahor, but other versions say thy brother Ora
Oh,
or Haran.
those are very different. For behold,
Behold.
Behold.
Zukaios, my brother Nahor's god, is more venerable than your god Meromath because he is made of gold, valued by man. Okay, so like at least that one has some monetary value, Dad.
And here the name is the same in the other versions as it was in those respective versions earlier. So there's
Such a
Ora,
rebellious
there's
team versus a
Oran,
traditional
there's
dad.
Haran, there's Nahor. So tons of different versions of who he's talking about here.
Yeah. So yeah, at least that one's valued by man. And if he grows old with time, he will be remodeled. Whereas Meromath, if he is changed or broken, will not be renewed because he is stone. Oh yeah, that's kind of the classic. They delineate like the value of things. Like they have stone, they have silver, gold, and all that stuff. There was that thing in was it Isaiah or was it Ezekiel where he's describing a statue.
Blank is greater than great, and this is worse than that. Yeah.
I forget which prophet it was
They've
in.
gone through it a few times. They even did it with the 7 mountains, where
Yeah.
there's the best mountain, the gold mountain, and the silver mountain, and the copper mountain or the bronze mountain.
Yeah, there's
something like
a
that.
whole lot of stuff that was listed.
So noteworthy, I'm pretty sure by this time the Romans would have been around speaking Latin and shit.
Yeah.
Well, Zookeos in Latin means the dead trunk of a tree or a stub.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Although the form, if for example it was Greek or something,
Mm-hmm.
that is a Greek form,
Mm-hmm.
Zukaios.
It could also be a borrowed word.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Where were we now? He was it's like at least you can remodel that when you can furnish it and stuff. What about Yoav, the god on the other god who stands with Zukaios? So it looks like for the god on the other god, it looks like some of the manuscripts are corrupt, but others may reflect text altered by scribal conjecture. Original possibly Yao, the other god. Yeah. That's a Greek god, I think, right?
Well, so there's this entire section that goes up until like about verse 5. Actually, it doesn't say the verses here.
Yeah, I already got through verse 5. Yeah.
So there's this entire section that compares gods,
Yeah.
which exists in manuscripts A and K, but isn't in S. It consists of a long comparison between the gods Joav or Joavan and Barisat, and is very obscure It probably is a later interpolation.
Okay. So yeah, the other possible translation of that section would be Yao, the other god, instead. Yeah, because saying Yoav, the god on the other god, is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Who stands with Zukaios. For he is also more venerable than the god Beresat. He is carved from wood and forged from silver, because he too is a term of a term of comparison. It seems like a lot of the manuscripts have, so they have different versions of the word supreme, basically. But D omits the prefix, producing premineri, I don't know, reconciliation. Primireni. Yeah, okay.
So this is very different in here. It's so I guess the language is obscure, but it says in here, instead of that, he's made of wood while he's forged of silver. How is he made? By adaptation of man, valuable to outward appearance.
Well, no, because this does go on. I didn't finish the verse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he too is a term of comparison, being valued by man according to external experience, is actually what that says there, according to this translation. But Beresat, your God, when he was still not carved, rooted in the earth, being great and wondrous, with branches and flowers and praise. But you made him with an axe, and by your skill he was made a god. And behold! He has already dried up, and his fatness has perished. He fell from the height to the earth. He came from greatness to smallness, and the appearance of his face wasted away. And he himself was burned up by the fire, and he became ashes, and is no more. And you say, let me make another tomorrow, and he will make my food for me. But in perishing, he left himself no strength for his own destruction. Yeah, so it's wow. That's something there.
So I guess another translation from
I mean, he's finally calling out, his dad's how logical he is.
So this is phrased as a question in a couple of manuscripts. It says, hath he not abandoned this once and for all by perishing to other destruction? So similar meaning, but it is phrased differently in different manuscripts.
Classic. Yeah. So now on to chapter 7.
Yes.
So this section is kind of weird here. So I'm going to read out a little bit of commentary here.
There's commentary here too.
Okay, I'll read out the small section here. So chapter 7 is the only part of the Apocalypse of Abraham that occurs in the early redaction of the explanatory Palaya, represented by the 1406 Columna manuscript and its family, where it follows immediately after Abraham's paraphrase of Psalm 115, 5-7, that in the later type of Palaya, like A, B, C, and K, those are the manuscripts, precedes the beginning of the Apocalypse of Abraham. The chapter was supplied with somewhat clearer opening lines than the obscure text witnessed by S and D, and subsequent minor modifications clearly changed the emphasis, and as far as can be judged from the faulty work of the scribes of S&D, simply removed difficult phrases. Later, when the first 6 chapters were inserted into the Palaya type that underlies A, B, C, and K, the modified text of chapter 7 was unchanged, even though in B and C, the third-person reference to Abraham at the beginning violates the first-person narration that precedes and follows.
So this chapter, it was noted before, it's probably a later edition.
Yeah, and it looks like for this chapter specifically, there are 2 things that are outlined here. Yeah. So it seems like he has a tradition from S and C, and then a tradition from A, B, C, and K. So
yeah, at least in here, it notes that A and K are very different at different points. So it has like alternate readings from A and K.
Yeah. And some of them are the same verses though, because it looks like verses 4 and 5 and 6, I guess, too, and also 9 are the same in both of them.
Yeah. So there are differences here. I don't know how you want to go about reading that.
So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll wing it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Actually, you read one version.
And then you'll read the
and
second one?
I'll read the second version and then the last chapter of the day.
Okay. So I will read. I think it would make more sense if I do S and C first.
Mm-hmm.
This I say, fire is more venerable in formation, for even the unsubdued things are subdued in it. And it mocks that which perishes easily by means of its burning. But neither is it venerable, for it is subject to the waters. But rather, the waters are more venerable than it, being the fire, because they overcome fire and sweeten the earth with fruits. But I will not call them God either, for the waters subside under the earth and are subject to it. But
right, because they would think that the land floats on top of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just goes away under it.
Yeah.
But I will not call it a goddess either, for it is dried by the sun and subordinated to man for his work. More venerable among the gods, I say, is the sun, for with its rays it illuminates the whole universe and the various airs. And that's air as in like the thing we breathe.
Oh.
Illuminates various airs. So cross-reference air in the sense of atmosphere or firmament in 15.5 below. D has an ungrammatical phrase which adds a form of the word human. So So for different people, it illuminates different peoples, different countries maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Nor will I place among the gods the one who obscures his course by means of the moon and the clouds. So they view that as obscuring a course. That was their understanding.
Okay.
The moon and the clouds, they get in the way of the sun's motions. That's what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nor again shall I call the moon or the stars gods, because they too at times during the night dim their light. Listen, Terra, my father, I shall seek before you the God who created all the gods supposed by us to exist. For who is it, or which one is it who made the heavens crimson and the sun golden, who has given light to the moon and the stars with it, who has dried the earth in the midst of the many waters, who set you yourself among the things, and who has sought me out in the perplexity of my thoughts. If only God will reveal himself by himself to us.
So here he's starting to adopt more of a monotheism, or at least henotheism.
Or at least, he's trying to argue for this this new God to his father.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So I read the one on the left, and you can read the one on the right, and it might be kind of weird, but like if there's a verse that's spanning both columns, that's in both versions, I guess.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
that was one version. That was one version.
So if you're all enjoying the stream, share it with your friends and family and neighbors.
Please
and
do.
Gods.
And gods, especially gods, and please drop a like. It is very helpful to the stream and the channel in general.
Yeah. So here is the version of chapter 7 that is in A, B, C, and K. Those are all different manuscripts. Chapter 7. Abraham, having thought this, came to his father and said, Father Terah, fire is more venerable than your gods, the gold and silver ones, and the stone and wooden ones, because the fire burns your gods, and your gods being burned obey the fire, and the fire mocks them while it is consuming your gods. But neither will I call it fire god, because it is subjugated to the waters. The waters are more venerable than it, fire, because they overcome fire and sweeten the earth with fruits. But I will not call them God either, for the waters subside under the earth and are subject to it. But I will not call it a goddess either, for it is dried by the sun and subordinated to man for his work. The sun I call more venerable than the earth, for with its rays it illuminates the whole universe. But I will not call it a god, because when night comes, it becomes murky with darkness. Nor again...
That's how it works, yeah.
Yeah. Nor again shall I call the moon or the stars gods, because they too at times during the night dim their light. But hear this, Terah, my father. Let me proclaim to you the God who created all things. But this is the true God, who has made the heavens crimson and the sun golden, who has given light to the moon and the stars with it, who has dried the earth in the midst of the many waters, who set you yourself among the things, and who has sought me out now in the perplexity of my thoughts. Well, this one is a statement, whereas in S&C it was a question. Yeah. If only God will reveal himself by himself to us. Right. So that was chapter 7, ABCK version.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about chapter 8.
Yeah, final chapter for the day.
Yeah, pretty short chapter 2.
Yeah.
At this point, the text of A, B, C, and K is interrupted by a long passage identical to that in the older redaction, with heterogeneous material. There is some exegesis, then the story of how Abraham burned Terah's sanctuary and his brother Haran perished trying to save the gods, derived from the Chronicle of George the Monk. Then more exegesis concerning the lineage from Abraham to the Virgin Mary.
Ooh.
Then the first part of 8:1 is repeated and continues. So this is chapter 8. And it came to pass, as I was thinking things like these with regard to my father Terah in the court of my house, the voice of the Mighty One came down from the heavens in a stream of fire.
Yo, about time.
Yeah, saying and calling, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, here I am. And he said, you were searching for the God of gods, the Creator, in the understanding of your heart. I am he. Go out from Terah, your father, and go out of the house, that you too may not be slain in the sins of your in your father's house. And I went out.
Wait.
And
Stop.
Thank you, Pope Benedict XVI, for the that's the euro, right? Yeah. So yeah, thank you for the €1. Very much appreciated. Thanks for stopping in,
are
man.
you sure it's a euro? It might be.
It looks like a euro.
Pound?
It might be a pound.
Oh yeah, maybe a pound. Yeah.
Is that a pound or a euro? You
gotta
tell
help
us.
Pope Benedict. We don't
Yeah,
remember.
we're uneducated Americans.
Yeah, we're Americans. We're idiots. We don't know about the outside world or.
Yeah, it's all a mystery to us.
But thank you anyways. It is
I'm a
greatly
British citizen,
appreciated.
Doesn't mean I know anything about Britain.
Yeah. Anyways, and it came to pass as I went out, I was not yet outside the entrance of the court, that the sound of a great thunder came and burned him and his house and everything in his house down to the ground 40 cubits.
Wow.
Yeah. The syntax of the last two words, 40 cubits, is obscure.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Fair enough there.
So give me the bookmark.
The book. Oh yeah, here you go.
Because that is the end of chapter 8, which is also the end of the initial segment of the Apocalypse of Abraham. What comes after this, which we'll start covering next week, is the Apocalypse itself.
Yeah, so we're gonna get some visions. We're gonna get some secrets of the world, I guess.
Right. This first 8 chapters was just Abraham's rejection of idolatry.
Okay, pound.
And
Thank
yes,
you.
It is
Thanks.
pound.
Okay.
I was thinking. both the pound and the euro are still higher than the dollar, right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't quite tell just by
The value.
yeah.
Yeah, either way. So yeah, the first part is just his rejection of idolatry, and he has some conversations with some wood, which is pretty funny. And yeah, he gets into this argument with his dad, and now God has come down after, you have in chapter 7, he's like, if only the real God would show up, and then the real God shows up.
Waiting for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, here I am. Yeah, fiery fury. Yeah.
Yeah, right. To destroy a whole bunch of things and set up for the apocalypse.
Yes. And yeah, that's everything we've read so far.
Yeah.
Here. So final thoughts on
the first section?
Abraham's rejection of idolatry.
You know what?
I liked it.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty amusing.
Yeah, pretty fun. I mean,
it's like the classic anti-idolatry stuff that we've heard a million times before, except it's like
a twist.
Yeah, with a twist. It's made a lot funnier.
Yeah. They definitely at least paint a picture of what this would look like in like actual events that might occur.
And
Plus the story, his reaction to, oh, you're on fire, ha ha ha.
Yeah, right. Like,
it's not that funny, man, but the fact that you think it's that funny is kind of
hey,
funny.
thanks for helping light a fire.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely a good one, even save for the really bad joke, but at least they had a joke in there, some weird pun, I guess, but it was a decent little read. So if you guys enjoyed the stream, please make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't, share it around with your idols and your fathers, all multiple of them.
Yeah, and check us out on Patreon, where you can get all sorts of things. You can be on this show. You can be in a t-shirt giveaway. If you don't want to enter a giveaway, you can click the merchandise that's going to be pinned. It's being pinned right now. It's pinning
a classic Behold hoodie.
Yeah,
is what is being pinned.
A hoodie.
It's been a bit.
Yeah,
it's not even a t-shirt.
No, this is a hoodie.
You can get yourself that Behold hoodie.
If it shows up.
Yeah, it's an OG. It's an OG Behold hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's other things. There's the Amazon wish list.
Yeah, that is true. Tomic,
Thank you for the Tomic.
Thank you for the $5, man. Really, really appreciated. Coming in clutch, this guy. Really, really appreciate the support. Do you think anti-idol polemics were really popular in converting pagans? I don't know if they were popular in converting pagans, I would say.
Although this certainly does seem like a story about that transitional phase where people are trying to keep their idol worship and others are rejecting it. It's like the teen versus the dad.
I wouldn't say that's a transitional phase like that, because if we were to base transitional phases off of that, then most of the Bible would be a transitional phase.
Yes.
But
all of time is
a transitional phase. Yeah, it's completely meaningless.
Yeah.
So I would say that the polemics, I think they really helped in solidifying, like if they were coming from like church fathers or something, I think they really helped in solidifying the faith as a whole without synchronizing. I think that's the big thing, that it really helped against any synchronizing of religions.
Yeah, I think it's more of like mocking an out group.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And because Judaism was, maybe it wouldn't be proper to call it Judaism at that point, but because ancient Israelite religion was pretty syncretic, those kind of polemics would really serve to stop that.
You also have to keep in mind the context and the Apocalypse of Abraham being written in the early 2nd century, presumably. Yeah. So there would be a lot more influence from the European world.
Yeah.
So they're all out there worshiping their idols.
Yeah, and it speaks to same with the gods that that are named. They would not be like the same type of god names you would find in in the Hebrew Bible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is true that
maybe that's
they
why
worshipped Asherah along with Yahweh, but that was like early on. That kind of started to phase out around the time of the exile.
Maybe that's why the typical names that we see in the Bible don't pop up in here. There is no Baal, there is no Asherah, there is no, like, none of the gods are
Yeah, they're not
idols.
necessary. You don't have to. Because the thing is, if you have like that kind of Roman context, or at least a Hellenized context, it would make more sense to be like, start talking about the elements.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's there are the thoughts there.
You know, it's odd that we're reading one book that's only preserved in Slavonic right after another one that was only preserved in Slavonic.
Yeah. You know what? I left it up to a poll.
Yep.
So that's what you guys chose. You guys chose this. But I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Apocalypse section is pretty cool.
Yeah. So
They do tend to be kind of cool.
I think we've shilled everything. You can check us out on Facebook and Twitter if you don't want to.
Oh yeah, all links are in the description, by the way.
Yeah.
We didn't say that part because Nightbot's
Nightbot's
not
dead.
doing anything.
I don't know where he is.
But yeah, all links are in the description. And the wish list, really, there's a lot of cool stuff on the wish list.
Yeah.
That we can use for this show or for long form videos.
Yeah. So with that being said, we will
See you on Sunday.
We're
to
starting
start
a new book.
Amos.
Amos.
It's gonna be Amos on Sunday.
Yep.